All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and get started. Rohil, do you want to start us off?
Okay, so hi everyone and welcome to this essay workshop hosted by the College Ambassadorship program. So the way our program works is we're a group of college students from around the country, and we've filled out some information about ourselves so the program knows about our majors and our hobbies and stuff. And you guys fill out some information about yourself, and then we match you with a personalized mentor so you can get the best help possible. So whichever mentor you get matched with, they're probably going to have similar majors or similar fields and done similar extracurriculars, so they can give you the most personalized help possible and get you through the process as best as possible. And what we're going to do today is talk about the essay workshop, so we can get started with talking about the structure of the program today.
So today, basically, how we're going to start this off is we're going to start talking about some general Common App tips for your longer essays, including how to get started, the editing process, the writing process. Then we'll launch into some of the very common supplemental essays that are kind of across the board for all schools and for a lot of schools. And then we're going to go through a one-on-one review session. Sometimes it's there'll be 2 students or 1 student in each breakout room. And how this is basically going to work is once we get to that slide that says review, I'll ask if you want to have your essay read that you send me a private message if you have any specific mentor that you would like to read your essay. If not, then I'll randomly assign you to a room and you'll just share a Google Docs link basically with that mentor, and then they can go in suggest mode and kind of give you some general tips and general feedback. And if there's more time, then they can give you some more specialized tips and specialized feedback. And then at the end, I know a lot of students asked some questions. So after that, we can go through like a question and answer session based on the questions some of you have submitted and any questions that you have after watching the presentation.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start by introducing both the program leads and also our panelists. So hi everyone, I'm Smitha. I'm one of the program leads for College Ambassadorship. I attend Tufts University, where I'm a sophomore studying community health and women's gender and sexuality studies on the pre-med track. Some of my interests related to medicine include the intersection between public health and medicine, and specifically how we can better advocate for issues related to maternal health affecting BIPOC women, and also environmental health issues related to water sanitation. And in my free time, I enjoy cooking. I've been doing a lot of cooking during quarantine, also running and hiking.
Hi, my name is Annika. I am a sophomore at Rice University and I am majoring in neuroscience. Some of my interests are neuroethics and neurogenesis research, which is what I'm doing right now. And in my free time, I love to garden. I have a big vegetable garden that unfortunately died this summer, but I'm bringing it back to life. And baking and watching science fiction.
My name is Rohil. I'm a freshman at UCSD. I'm a biophysics major and a music minor, and my general career interest is finding that intersection between the medical field and the engineering field, things like prosthetics and medical devices. And in my free time, I like to play guitar, bake, and hang out with my dog.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica. I'm sorry that you can't see my screen. I'm trying to work it out for some reason. I got a new device, so it's just not working. But yeah, my name is Jessica. I go to Florida International University. I'm a double major in psychology and biology. Some of my interests include cognitive and behavioral neuroscience. So I'm interested in studying anxiety, depression, and other disorders that are part of that track. And some of my free time things I do in my free time include I'm an animal activist. I volunteer with the ASPCA. I like to read and I like to hike.
Everyone, I'm Irene. I go to Tufts. I'm a sophomore, and I'm currently double majoring in biology and child development. And my interests generally lie within those 2 majors, so pediatric medicine and more specifically pediatric physical health and mental health, as well as the intersection between genetics and medicine. And in my free time, I enjoy singing, swimming, and going on hikes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jada, and I'm a third year at the University of Virginia. My major is global public health, and within my major, I'm focusing on the social determinants of maternal mortality. In my free time, which is few and far between, I like to bake, sing, and hang out with my friends.
Awesome. So our first section of today's workshop will be delving into Common App essays. So we're going to be focusing on general things to keep in mind when writing essays and more.
So the first step in the college writing process is brainstorming. Personally, starting this process felt really daunting and scary. So to alleviate some of the stress you all may be feeling, I have come up with the following steps. So you're going to want to start with the brain dump. Simply start by jotting down some topics and ideas that you're interested in writing about. Whenever an idea pops into your head, get into the habit of writing it down. Before you know it, you will have a substantial list of ideas, and one of those fleeting thoughts could possibly be the perfect essay topic. During this process, don't focus on what you guys think admission officers want to read. Remember, the Common App essay is one of the only chances the admission committee gets to see you beyond your statistical information. Admission committees want you to use a 650-word space to vibrantly describe who you are and what you can bring to the campus community. With that being said, narrow down your ideas by choosing authentic stories that inspire you and excite you. These stories should allow you to express your identity and memorable life experiences that have helped you grow and transform into the person you are today. Also, it is important to remember that there is no right or wrong essay topic. People have been admitted to top universities with essays ranging from serious life-altering events even to like their love of cheese. At UVA, we have this special comedy night called Voices of the Class. All of the material for these nights are directly from the essays of admitted students, and you wouldn't believe some of the things students have chosen to write about. So the options are endless. Your interests, quirks, and habits are what make you your unique and authentic self. And that's what admission officers want to see. So definitely let that shine through. Lastly, do not feel that you need to exploit any trauma you may have experienced. On the other hand, if you want to talk about traumatic experiences and are comfortable expressing those ideas, don't stray away from the topic just because you think it might be cliche. And so my main takeaway is your voice and your experiences matter. While constructive criticism is extremely helpful throughout the brainstorming process, you all are in control of the conversation and know what is best for you. I can assure you that your experiences are neither too small nor too cliche to create a detailed, well-rounded essay. So pick a topic that you can write with conviction, passion, and most importantly, one that you enjoy.
So the writing process is something that I've experienced as well as most of you will have to, because of how you're either nervous or you're either excited because you're not really sure what you want to write and you want to make sure that you're impressing the admissions committee altogether. What I can say from this is do not feel pressured right away and do not write everything down that you feel is your life story or personal passion right away, because the editing process will be the next step that we'll be discussing in the PowerPoint. But what I can say is showcase your personality, showcase your passions and your ambitions. One thing with admissions is they want to see something that you present that's different among the crowd. So if you're able to pick a story that either something that's happened to you or something that you're excited about, or just a political person or figure that really made a difference in your life, that always is helpful as well. I can say this from my experience. I discussed in my essay about my grandfather and his diagnosis with stage 4 lung cancer. And the reason that made such a difference is because of the steps and the stages I went through of having to balance seeing a significant figure in my life transition into being a healthy and smart and funny and compassionate person to just overall not being himself and being pessimistic. So if you find something that is very passionate and something that just overall contributes to yourself and maybe your major, your future majors, that will make a difference as well. Also, when it comes to the word count, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I have to meet the specific word count. Don't worry about that right away. You'll be able to fix that, but make sure you're answering the overall question as well. A lot of times admissions looks back and they go, it was great that they wrote this whole story and devoted their time, but they didn't even answer the question that they chose. So you want to just overall make sure you're devoting your time into your essay, answering your question, and really contributing your passions and what you care about, because that will make a difference on if the admissions accepts you for who you are and that you'll be able to contribute to their campus in many different ways. So I just don't stress about it. Just make sure your factors were, and you're making sure everything you're doing will be compelling to express your overall story.
Okay, so for the editing process, first I have a few more general tips. And I haven't written this first one down, but once you write the essay and you've written down your first draft, definitely don't go straight into editing. You just did something that took a lot of time, so definitely take a break, do something you like, and then come back with more of a fresh mind when you think you're ready to look at the essay again and edit. Just be proud of the work you did for that moment, and then come back and critique it later. So then after you think you're ready to edit, I would say a big tip that I have is to read the essay out loud. Because often you'll catch mistakes you wouldn't otherwise, whether this be grammatical, spelling mistakes, but also you'll get a feel for if the essay sounds the way you want it to do too, if it's like portraying yourself the way you want to be portrayed. Um, so I would say read it aloud the first time you're editing, read it aloud after you think you've done every significant step in the editing process, and then at the end as a final before you submit, just to make sure one more time that it's exactly what you want. Another suggestion that I have is definitely to ask family members, friends, teachers to read through your essays, just people who you think would have some good suggestions for you. Uh, you can never have too many eyes reading your essay. And of course, like even in my essay process, there were some suggestions that I really just didn't like or didn't agree with. And you don't have to accept what anyone says. At the end of the day, it's your essay. But they might have some valuable suggestions that you maybe didn't catch. They might find like small errors that you didn't catch. So definitely reach out to others and have multiple eyes read your essay. But at the end, just remember that it is your own. And some more specific considerations, similar to what Jessica was saying, make sure that your essay actually answers the specific prompt. It might be a great essay, but if it's not actually answering the prompt, then the admissions committee will see that. Then make sure it's well organized. There certainly isn't one way to organize each essay, but just make sure it's organized in a way that seems logical to you. And then, as has been said, your essay is kind of your one of your only chances to showcase yourself beyond numbers or just an extracurricular activity. So make sure it shows your voice and personality, and that really comes through the way you write, through what you choose to include in the essay, etc. And then kind of look into what you think each college values in terms of admission. Don't make this the main focus of your essay, but just make sure that in general you think it might make you a good candidate to admission for that college or for any college, that your personality really shines through in that way. And then similarly, just make sure you stick to the topic you intended to. Just don't go on too many tangents. You only have 650 words, so you might as well stick to one or a few clear topics that you decide beforehand. So just make sure that your essay focuses on that. And then the next part, these are kind of more technical considerations. Just making sure your essay includes a good mix of sentence length, that it's not just a bunch of choppy sentences or a ton of really run-on sentences, that it includes a good mixture to keep it interesting. Also, in terms of word choice, you don't want, of course, like too simplistic a vocabulary, but you also don't want it filled with just a ton of words that sound really intense. Kind of just a good mixture that you feel like really gets your point across. And then finally, obviously, spelling and grammar is important. And since this is where I really think like other people reading your essay is important, they might catch little things that you don't. Obviously, put it through spelling and grammar check. But also just make sure that everything makes logical sense and that when you read the essay, your point is clear and that spelling and grammar don't hinder from the point coming across.
Okay, guys, we're actually going to pause here really quickly to see if anybody has any specific questions they would like to ask about the Common App essay or the long essay to any of our panelists so far. So
And you
if
can just go ahead and unmute yourself.
yeah,
if
you can unmute yourself or just send it in the chat, whatever you're most comfortable with. Okay. I guess if nobody has any questions, we can continue into the supplemental essays and then do our Q&A at the end. So our second topic is going to be the supplemental essays, and we're going to go through how to approach different supplemental essay topics. The ones we're going to be focusing on is the why school essay, the diversity essay, and the
There's one more. I'm also picking up, but we'll go ahead and get started with this.
Okay, so academic goals. Basically, when someone thinks of academic goals, I think of what's the long term for 4 years and beyond. Even though you're entering undergraduate school and you're thinking about, oh, I still have 4 times to figure out what I want to do for the following years, I still always believe having space for what I want to pursue in graduate, possibly even for a master's or PhD, is always beneficial as well. We're always thinking beyond. I believe that's just our generation currently. We're just always stressing about what the future holds for us. So in terms of brainstorm, when we think of academic interests, what's the major and minors? You can either double major, you can double minor. I've seen students especially do double majors and double minors. It is a commitment, but it can be done. You can also think of, when you're answering these questions, why are you interested in pursuing a specific program at their school? A lot of times the schools want to know, why does our program stand out instead of another school? Or why are you particularly interested? Is it something you learned early on that I want to study neuroscience, or I really am interested in biology, or your program offers a lot of research opportunities that other schools do not have? So just think of balancing the advantages and disadvantages of what their program offers, and that really will outweigh in your essay of what you can talk about. As well as, are you interested in honors programs? Are you interested in specific clubs, possibly leadership positions in those clubs? Sometimes you can do, if you're interested in medicine, you can do different things with cancer societies, or you can do different programs with Alzheimer's, anxiety, depression. There's many different focuses you can do, and even form your own clubs if they don't offer things that you're interested in. Also, make sure to respond specifically if they come about with quotes. I know certain schools I applied to had, what does this quote mean to you? Why is it meaningful? What do you think it means in terms of our overall objectives towards our school? Sometimes they can be tricky, but once you look at the website and really understand their history beyond and some of the students' examples, it really can help as well. And in terms of explanations, just make sure your essay is very clear, it's concise, and you're answering the question. A lot of times, and I know we've discussed this, but a lot of times admissions officers notice they just didn't answer the question, and that is so crucial. If you don't answer the question, they just bypass the whole essay. So make sure you just get that across, as well as paint yourself or picture yourself as a student at your school. What would you do? What was the first thing you would do if you were at that school? Would you either go to the library or go to a research center or meet with a certain professor? That always is helpful too. Even doing a virtual tour online can help make a decision too, and help really create that image on the essay. And just follow the appropriate word count. Specifically, make sure in your writing it's more than just a summary, and make sure you really put research into the school, because that will make a difference. And express meaning. How will this school truly impact your life and beyond? Why is this school somewhere I want to be for the next 4 years? And don't be afraid to express and open up about different passions or different reasons that the school offers. It could be, it offers more diversity, or there's something that with different peers I'm meeting, we all seem to connect in certain ways. So don't be afraid to do that, and don't be afraid to open up about personal hardships that you've had to overcome. That also makes a difference as well.
Okay, so the next supplemental essay we'll be talking about is the diversity essay. And overall, the purpose of this essay is to highlight what sets you apart, what you believe makes you who you are, and kind of sets you apart from the other candidates applying to the same school. And beyond kind of this diversity and what sets you apart, why admissions committees are asking this is because they want to gain a better understanding of the diverse views and opinions you'll bring to campus. So they want to know how you believe that you'll uniquely contribute to their college community. And there are many different ways this essay can come about. There isn't kind of one diversity essay prompt, but one example that I found is some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent that is so meaningful they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, please share. So generally, the question will come in the form of like, tell us about something that sets you apart. And many students often sometimes are daunted by this because they think that they need a specific like ethnicity or race or religion that sets them apart, and they might not identify with any of those very well. So it definitely doesn't have to be that kind of diversity. It can also just be like a background you believe sets to sort of.
Irene, you froze. So
Oh no. Can you hear me now?
yes, we can hear you now. I think you
Okay.
ended off at a background that sets you apart, something along those lines. So
Okay, yeah. I'll just kind of go back one more time talking about writing the essay. So basically, I would say similar to the general Common App essay, start with a brain dump, kind of everything that you believe might set you apart. So this can be like an ethnicity or religion, but also think about your backgrounds, talents, etc. And then choose one that you think is very significant to who you are. Not only that I really identify with that background, but also that it's influenced your outlook on life, kind of the actions you take. And I would say that with this essay, it's really important to show and not tell. You don't just kind of want to say, oh, this background is significant to me. You want to show how it influences kind of your daily outlook on life, your opinions, how this background is going to add to how you're going to contribute to the school. Like, for example, one example that I saw was someone talking about a talent that they have was playing the guitar. So they specifically talked about when they had to learn a really difficult piece and how that taught them about the values of determination and hard work. So kind of take your identity and show how it influences who you are as a person. And then often, just like with the guitar example, people choose to include an anecdote in this essay that kind of shows how this identity shapes them. So definitely consider that. That's a good way to show, not tell. So with this essay, again, don't be daunted. It doesn't have to be something crazy that makes you diverse. Just a characteristic of yourself that you believe makes you who you are, and that shows the positive characteristics that you're going to contribute to the university that you're applying to.
And so our last supplemental essay we'll be focusing on is the why this school essay. So this supplemental essay was really created to gauge like why you want to attend the university and how applicants will fit into the existing university community and also aid in its progression. So it's very important to thoroughly research each university before writing this essay. So in terms of research, you're going to want to conduct some independent research on school traditions, values, mottos, and prestige. This information is widely available online, and you can find it with a quick Google search. If you discover that your values align with those of the university, you can use this research to up how you uphold traditions there. But even if you find that like the university has values that you think can be improved upon, you can write about how you may align with current university organizations to create change that students can be proud of and that the university can be proud of at the end of the day. Next, I converse with current students, faculty, and alumni to gain insight into the campus community and student life. These individuals have firsthand experience with the university, and their perspectives can provide really useful insight. So some questions to ask them could be like, why did you choose this university? Now that you're there, how do you feel about your decision? And like how the university has supported them during their time there. And also ask them about what majors, organizations, and activities the universities offer for students who may have similar interests as you. And then lastly, kind of plan a visit to the school. While seeking information from secondary sources is great, you must get a feel for the university yourself. So I know that COVID-19 greatly complicates this, but many schools are offering virtual information sessions and allowing people to walk around outdoor spaces if you wear masks and abide by social distancing guidelines. When it comes to writing, don't be afraid to incorporate your research. When detailing why you want to join a university community, feel free to name drop any organizations and traditions you may have found when conducting your research. So for example, if community service is a core value of your university and you want to describe how you will uphold that value, that you plan to get involved with, and if you are admitted. So this shows admission officers that not only have you thoroughly researched, but you also already have a plan to positively impact the university community. And then my next tips are just kind of like some average writing tips. So like, since these essays are so short, I think most are around 250 words, it's super important to use very concise and detailed language. Also, to help you reduce filler word usage, make the sentences crisp. But with that being said, also try to find that balance between short and long sentences to keep admission officers engaged and really able to follow like your train of thought. And lastly, again, showcase your authentic voice. Even though supplementals are very research-based and kind of more structured than the Common App essay, it is important to show your personality through your language and your writing tone.
Okay, so these are some overall final considerations. A lot of these were already mentioned by other people, but this is just like a final review. So the first one, generally just show who you are. They already have seen the rest of your application. They know about your academics and your extracurriculars. So yeah, this is your opportunity to show who you are off the paper and what you as a person bring to their campus. Second of all, remember to answer the question. I know I've gotten caught up telling stories and essays, so remember you have to revise and make sure you're actually answering the question they want you to answer. And the third one, COVID-19 essays. Remember, a big part of essay writing is showing uniqueness and individuality, and every single person went through COVID-19. We all went through the pandemic together. So unless you had a really unique experience that not a lot of other people have had with this, then I would stay away from this topic. Fourth of all, draft. Always remember to draft. You won't get a perfect essay on the first try. That would be insane. But remember to always just keep drafting and make sure you get other people to revise with you so you can get feedback from other perspectives. Make sure you take breaks. I think one thing I like to do is write for an hour or something. Go take a break and do something you enjoy doing so you can get your mind off the essay. And then when you come back, you'll have a different perspective yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Writing about yourself is something that not a lot of people have a lot of experience with. It's not something that we're used to in school. So it's a very unique experience, and just remember to be confident and show who you are. And the last one I didn't write down, but this is just a general tip. I think you have to remember that the people reading this are actual people, not robots. So if you write it in a way that is enjoyable for them to read, the chances of them liking you and your application definitely increase. So as someone mentioned earlier, don't write it for them. Don't write what you want them to hear. But if you can make it enjoyable for them to read, the chances of them enjoying it and liking your application definitely increase.
Okay, cool. So now what we're going to kind of do is anyone who is interested in having their essay read by one of our mentors, if you could private message me in the chat. I think you should be able to have that feature, and just let me know if there's a specific mentor you would like to have, or if you're okay with any, and we can, otherwise I'll randomly assign you to a room if you would like to have your essay read, and it'll be just first come, first serve, whoever messages me, and then I'll put you in a breakout room for that. And then at the end, we can go through a question and answer session. Otherwise, yeah, you can feel free to stick around, or yeah. So I'm gonna start assigning people to rooms, but